old and out of date. So through using of hospital funds that we still had on hand, and we were able to get a local option sales tax, which was an adventure in itself back in 2018 and 19, passed overwhelmingly through a referendum. Then it was the process of trying to get through the legislature, but which took us most of that 2019 legislative session. The local option sales tax initiated in January of 2020. We've got 5 years of collection now. Our sales tax, as approved by the legislature, runs for 15 years or collecting up to $25 million, whichever occurs first. So what did we do? We started going around. This was our new movie theater. Surprisingly, when we had our these employee listening sessions, the movie theater was the #1 thing that they wanted. So we built our own movie theater. It's a 5 auditorium movie theater. 2 of the auditoriums seated around 100 people, and then 3 of them are a little smaller that seat about 50 people. But it's got the Barcalounger automatic reclining seats. It's a beautiful movie theater. I have taken to calling it the no sign movie theater because we can't get our operator to put a sign up. But we may have to step in and do that. But it is a beautiful movie theater, state of the art. This, of course, we ran into some issues. We hit this right at COVID time. So we delayed opening for about 1.5 years. Part of that was the several companies that manufacture seats are located in Michigan. And if you think back, the governor in Michigan closed every manufacturing plant for some long period of time. The seats were delayed for months, if not 1 year, coming in. They finally arrived. It's been modest in operations, which I blame entirely on Hollywood. If you would start putting out some good movies, we could get better audience. City invested $4 million in this. The operator has well over $1 million in operating all of the theater equipment. We have a huge soccer community in town. We had this area which we call Busfield where they had played soccer. This was adult soccer. It was a terrible location. Sat in a bowl. It would rain. Water couldn't drain out. Basically a mud field. Couldn't get grass to grow. We went in and rebuilt this. We hauled in 6,000 truckloads of dirt to build this area up. We've raised the ground level 4 to 5 feet. Got it properly drained. We have irrigation systems out there. As we were wrapping up, we've got 3 full-size fields out there. As we were wrapping up construction, we were talking about, all right, we gotta get grass to grow. When you turf a field, you really want everyone off of it for 1 year to get that turf established. And we didn't know what we were gonna do with the adult league for another year with no place to play. Just happened that earlier that year we had closed the municipal 18-hole golf course, but we were still maintaining it. And my public works director and I looked at each other and we said, we got 18 fairways of beautiful sod. We transplanted 10 acres of sod in 6 days in the first week of November in 2017. By June of 2020, we had full soccer league playing. Last year we had, I forget if it was 22 or 24 teams playing in adult league. They play on Sundays. We have games running from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening. And we have hundreds of people that are down there throughout the day. It looks like a mini state fair with all of the carnivals. When they hosted the Super Bowl, We won, and through the help of Sanford and other people that applied for this grant, we were awarded a $50,000 grant as part of the Super Bowl. With that, we built a storage building, and then with our current sales tax, we went in and put new restrooms in. All right, pickleball people are the most insistent group I've ever encountered. They wanted pickleball courts. We had a pair of old dilapidated tennis courts that were over by the Old West School. We kind of plotted it out. We rebuilt one of the tennis courts into 4 pickleball courts. And believe me, that was almost good enough. Every year I'll find out something else we have to add. When we were marking out the lines for the pickleball courts, we had a crew of pickleball experts advising us if we were within a 1/4 inch of tolerance on all those lines. The next year we went to the other court and rebuilt that, and with the idea that it was going to be an outdoor skating rink, we put boards up, and it turned into a soccer rink. They are playing soccer out there about 9 months a year. The first year we put ice in there, we came back on a Monday morning and the ice was all shot and we couldn't figure out what had happened because it hadn't warmed up or anything. Well, we discovered that the soccer players showed up and they found that it was slippery, so they put salt on it Okay, so we have this beautiful trail system around town, but it is dark, runs through Olson Park, runs through Centennial Park. We put lights up, and I lived near one of these trails, and I would walk my dog most evenings, and he was afraid of the dark. So I'd have to wear a headlamp while I was walking. Now I don't have to wear the headlamp. This is the Olson Park Trail on the left, the Centennial Park Trail on the right, which doesn't show the lights that are currently in place. We have walk bridges that we've fixed. As one of our new projects this year, we're redoing the pavement on the Centennial Park Trail. Then we went into our parks. We had talked about we need new facilities. One of our council members kind of questioned why we need new restrooms. I pointed out that from our research, the restrooms in our city parks were built before I was born. That really ended the discussion that that maybe we needed new ones. So this is Centennial Park. We built a new shelter, new playground, new walk bridge that goes over the creek that empties in there. If you can avoid it, don't build next to a lake. You'll never end up digging down to get to decent soil. A lot of our projects overran just from soil conditions. Some of you may know this was the 10th Avenue Bridge. We had a council member who unfortunately passed away during his term, Mike Harmon. I refer to this as the Mike Harmon Bridge because he insisted that this bridge get built to the point that one year he refused to vote to adopt the budget because it didn't include the bridge, which was in the next year's budget, but he still would not vote for the current budget. But we did get it built. Ludlow Park, we put in a little restroom. This was a prefab restroom. The Ludlow family, Bedford, donated the funds for that park. We got a new parking lot built. Then we got a splash pad. This is in Centennial Park. Again, we were coerced into this by the Kiwanis. Other than pickleball players, the Kiwanis people are the most insistent people to get anything done. So I was very skeptical about the splash pad because it was kind of at the height of everyone had to build a splash pad, and I just figured it was, the latest fad and wasn't going to be that big of a hit. I said, if we're going to build a splash pad, I'd looked at some in other cities and they were kind of small and not very impressive. I said, if we're going to build a splash pad, it's going to be the biggest, best splash pad there is. We got it. This thing is I was wrong. It's not a fad. Everyone loves it. We have a great time. We use recycled water because I asked the question, the water that comes out of the water main is about 55 degrees. I said, who wants to stand out there and get doused by 55-degree water? So as part of our water conservation practice and the idea that the reclaimed and recycled water, which would be somewhat tempered, we completely recycle the water. So my favorite statutory oversight, state of Minnesota, if you recycle water, then it is classified as a swimming pool. So all of our public works operators, all of our employees are licensed swimming pool operators. This was Pleasant Park, which is over on the south side. That was a tennis court that was completely dilapidated. And I grew up across the street from this park and remember when that tennis court was built, and there is a possibility that that may have been the original surface from when I was a kid. Is Kenton here? I didn't see it. Did he walk? Kenton and I used to play tennis over there when we were kids. Anyway, we got that rebuilt. Now we have a playground over there in the park that was part of the school property. They've been after us that they want to give it back to us. And just in the last month or so, we were looking at it and we said, you already sold it to SMOC. It's on Head Start property. So you can't give it to us. They can. They're working through, they think it was a mistake when they transferred property that wasn't supposed to transfer to them. But at this point, SMOC, we don't know who owns it. We don't. We will probably soon one day. This is back at Centennial Park. We had this little facility called the Beach Nook. There's a concession stand that we lease out to an operator. And actually, we pay them to lease it from us. Then they take care of the beach, they take care of the restrooms. We rebuilt this. We've got an all-new restroom facility. We have family restrooms. We've got a storage area because we have kayaks and canoes and sailboards. And the concession stand, which for the last, 6 or 7 years has been run by a family. We do get their financials. We question, I'm sure it's as accurate as they can be. They've put, I think, their 5th child through college on the proceeds of 3 months of concession stands. This is Slater Park on the south side of the lake. Again, brand new restroom facility and all of our restrooms have family restrooms along with the men's and women's, and a picnic shelter, new playground here. JBS Fieldhouse. This is just down the street here. This is really my favorite facility that we've done. We have a 16,000 square foot inside facility, turfed. It's completely netted. We've got batting cages. We got turfs that are designed to hit golf balls. I had been contacted by JBS saying they wanted to look at some possible in giving some donations to facilities. I asked them if they would consider giving us $1 million for our field house. That went through quickly, thus the naming rights of JBS on the field house. They called me when the day the check was ready, and I drove out, picked up a check for $1 million, came back to the office. I told our finance people I wanted to take it over to the bank and deposit it myself. This, now in the field house, we've reached the spring sports season. It is booked. We had to change the schedule last year to accommodate our spring sports from 3 o'clock till 7 o'clock every weekday. It is only for spring sports. We got baseball, softball, golf, in there. We've got Minnesota West is using it for baseball and softball. So this really is my favorite facility that we've got done. Then we built an outdoor pool. This is Water World. I got to the point where I asked my public works director if he would step in and take all control of this. This was a challenging project. We had bad soils. We had problems getting certain equipment. It just, one obstacle after another. I asked Todd to take it over because I was afraid I was going to stroke out over this thing. 10th Street Plaza. This was a piece of property that the city acquired through the Campbell Soup transaction. It was a former gas station, had this really broken up, poor concrete surface. That's where we have our farmers market. It was to the point where it was, kind of a liability to have people walk in there. We decided to build this. It's this pavilion, and we've got the public restrooms downtown. Farmers market, we designed it so that it was tall enough that they could drive their pickups inside, set up inside. We have concerts in there. And when you light it up at night, it is really cool. Where we're at, Chautauqua. Okay, again, our friends with the Kiwanis. They came up with the ideas. They wanted what's called an all-inclusive playground. And of course, we couldn't say no, since they did such great fundraising. They raised, I forget what the dollar amount was. It was over $100,000 they raised during COVID. This is a playground that is designed not only for everybody, but to accommodate any kids or adults that may have certain mobility challenges or disabilities, autism, things like that. So beautiful playground. The Kiwanis folks come out every morning and clean the playground. We bought leaf blowers because they were bringing their own leaf blowers from home. So we finally bought a couple and we have them out there, but they come out every morning and clean that playground. New restrooms. We have the band shell. I don't know, maybe the historical people, I forget when it was built. It dates back to 1920s maybe? 1930s. 1930s? Needed some rehab work. We did that. You see the benches here. We started this program where you can dedicate a bench. You pay for the bench, we install it. We have these benches scattered through all of our parks, along all of our trails that are in honor or memory of someone. We now have, we're running out of places to put them along our trail, so we started putting them in the audience area of the band shell. So we're starting to fill that up with new benches that are being paid for and sponsored by others. Another thing that we had fallen behind on our street repair, and our roads were getting to be a little bit undrivable. Again, this goes back to our elected officials that put a priority on fixing up Worthington. And one of their priorities was we got to get our streets back up to par. So 2 years ago, we rebuilt a stretch of Oxford Street. Just so you know, Oxford Street, part of it is state highway, part of it is city street, part of it is county road. We did the city street portion between McMillan and Humiston. We'll get on to what's going to happen next, but we rebuilt that. This is what it looks like afterwards. Last year we did this 2-block stretch on 3rd Avenue. This coming year we're going to do the same thing on the next street over on 4th Avenue. This was a season-long disruption for our downtown businesses. Our contractors worked closely with all of our businesses. Nobody had to close. You just had some disruption of traffic, which we did our best to accommodate. We have Memorial Auditorium. We have put over $500,000 into that fix-up. We did put all new seats in, and I was part of the seat selection committee. And I don't see Chad Cummings here. He was he was the one that joined that committee to make sure that the seats were large enough. And it was the Art Deco style. We, I think it was what year did we add the addition? 2011, I think. So we put an addition on Memorial Auditorium. That came from funds from the previous sales tax that we had. I was involved in that project from the architecture engineering side when I was working elsewhere. Those of us that have been here a long time remember it as part of the junior high, which was subsequently torn down. Then we built this addition. One unique thing about this with the Art Deco style from the early 30s, on the addition on some of this stonework, or cast stone, we wanted to match the Art Deco pattern. The firm I was working for, we went back to the original, to the company that supplied the stones back in the 1930s. They still had the original drawings of that, of those pieceworks, so we were able to replicate them exactly. Redid the boat ramp a couple of years ago, and I've done more work. Okay, then some of the other things, some of the city improvements. We acquired a former fitness facility. We moved our public works department in there. We had our public works department divided in 2 different locations. We were able to get them all under one roof. We got able to get all of our equipment and vehicles in there. I think we have 7,000 feet of tubing, in-floor heat tubing in there. We had a liquor store, municipal liquor store. So whatever you think about city selling liquor, all I'll tell you is it makes a lot of money, and a lot of that money goes back into the city coffers that keeps everybody's taxes, takes a bite out of everybody's taxes. We bought a dollar store on Ryan's Road and added on to the front, added on to the back. We about tripled the floor size, and we do about $5 million a year in liquor sales. Then we were approached about making a donation actually to this facility, and the county matched. We were asked, city and county, to match donations, so the city donated $500,000 along with the county donated $500,000 to renovate this building. So housing. We were in meetings with some of our home builders, and there was no place to build a house in town, no lots available. So again, our council stepped up. We bought a couple of, well, first of all, we to help our rental problem, Minnesota West added housing on their campus. And this is a long, drawn-out story because in the wisdom, again, of our state of Minnesota, community colleges are not allowed to have on-campus housing. So they found a private organization. This is what they do. They go on to college campuses and build housing. This is housing that's owned by this other organization. They needed some funding gap. The city stepped up and put up a $900,000 loan to help offset that funding gap. There's 108 beds on this. The city's interest in this was that's 108 people that are not looking for rental housing in Worthington. And it was impacting their enrollment with kids wanting to come to school here but couldn't find a place to live. Then we bought 50 acres out on the west side of town, developed the Glenwood Heights housing development. This ultimately can, we've got it laid out for about 95 lots, single-family homes. We've got it broken up into villa lots, what we call move-up lots and executive lots. Our current phase, we've got 37 lots available. You can see some of them are sold, And as demand comes in, we'll continue to develop more, so more lots are available. Then we bought when we built the movie theater, we bought this 11 acres out. It's behind Runnings, Billion, Quick Trip. And we were able to extend Cecily Street to connect it. With that, we were able to get 17 lots in there. And we called this our starter home development. Those 17 lots are now sold. So we had, really to my surprise anyway, there was great demand to have lots out there. These are a little smaller lots, but we're getting a lot of building out there. We have people that are building twin homes for rental, twin homes to live on one side, rent the other side. So we've got that. All right, so that's where we've been. So where are we going? We too just did a new website, and I got to give Christina credit. How long did it take us? A year and a half? We launched it, what, 2 weeks ago? Our old website, the person that developed it had passed away, and he had all the secrets to how we couldn't edit a lot of it. So what are we doing this year? Again, a lot of road projects. Ray Drive North Extension. This is the asphalt road that runs in front of Slumberland behind Arby's. That's actually a private road. We are in talks with the landowner about us acquiring it, that we would extend that and go from Ryan's Road up to Quick Trip. East Okabena Trail. So this is another bike pedestrian trail that will go essentially from the field house, under the railroad tracks, around Bus Field, through that, what used to be East Okabena Lake years ago, and connect with the trail out on Highway 60. This East Service Road reconstruction, that's part of the old Highway 60 project, the Highway 60 project that occurred several years ago. That's a service road that is out by Graham Tire. We are repaving the pedestrian trail from the Beach Nook up to Cynthia. I mentioned East 9th Avenue. We have this little stretch of street that years ago got built, and they never put sewer and water mains in. The 3 houses on that street have these very long services that run from their house back to an adjoining street. We are running sewer and water in those streets and repaved the road. I'm not going to get into all the ordinance issues that we went through, but we are going to get that built this summer. 4th Avenue, the street I just talked about, will replicate what we did on this street here. Murray Avenue, that's a street that's out by what I call the old A&W. That's going to get reconstruction. Cherry Point, complete pavement reconstruction. We did sewer and water there 2 years ago. We typically will wait a couple of years after we put utilities in to redo the street so that the ground has a chance to settle, so that whole neighborhood gets new pavement. East Flower Lane. This is a new street that we're building to accommodate a new housing development. We have a developer from the Brainerd area that is coming in. While nothing is firmly cemented at this point, they have purchase agreements to buy the remaining land that's out off of County Road 57 and Highway 60, what is now a Casey's gas station. It used to be a Sinclair. They have plans for a 5 35-unit apartment buildings. And their first phase will be 2 of those buildings, swimming pool, dog park, playground, going to be really nice. And this is a group, they have a long track record of building in outstate Minnesota. They are out of the Brainerd area, and they're working their way south. They finally got to Worthington. So we have to build a street to accommodate that. So that's the East Flower Lane. And we have 6th Avenue, we have 3 blocks where we're replacing all the utilities. And then in a year or 2, we'll repave the street there. So our engineering team has been very busy this year. They're getting plans out. We had 4 bid openings last week. We're approving 4 bids next week. So what have we been doing? I've been working on succession planning within city staff. We had a wave of retirements 4 or 5 years ago. We had 11 people retire in 1 year. I soon discovered as we advanced someone that had been in that department for many years, we found out how much had never been shared with them by their previous boss, which created some issues. So I've implemented a succession plan. Every department head has a succession plan. They've got the next 1 or 2 people behind them that is being fully trained and knowledgeable. And this is also our hit by a bus contingency. If one of our department heads, for one reason or another, is out of work for a while, we don't miss a beat. We've got someone right there that can step in and at least keep that department running. And we've got another wave of retirements that we're approaching, and I want to hire from within whenever we can, promote from within. And we are training up our next generation of leaders. We just signed, we have 3 unions. We typically go with 3-year agreements. They all expired at the end of '24. We've come to agreement with all unions on another 3-year contract. And I went 3 years because myself and our general manager of public utilities, who do all of the negotiation, we're hoping that this is the last time that we ever have to negotiate unions. With that, we took a long look at our compensation benefit plan. We have to be very competitive to keep our employees and to attract new employees. So we've changed a lot of things. And again, this was with the support of our city council. We've changed our vacation schedule. We changed some conversion schedules. We implemented just some other benefits. We have been very generous with our cost of living adjustments. In 2024, unrequested, we stepped up and gave inter-contract pay adjustments to everybody on city staff, just about everybody. There were a couple of us that didn't, but we have our own compensation, but which that made union negotiations this time around much easier because they were reminded that they got a raise last year without any request. We added a fitness membership benefit, language benefit. We have a number of people that are bilingual. They get a very generous hourly bump if they speak one of our approved 5 languages. So addressing our diverse community, we have in the past 3 years or so, we now have 4 people at City Hall that are native Spanish speakers. Then, of course, we have our Korean city engineer, who he doesn't get paid because there's really no call for speaking Korean. Our assistant city engineer is from South Africa. I don't know how many languages she speaks, but there are 4? Yeah. We have on our police force, and correct me, we've got Ernest, Ivan, Sydney, Ka, Q.
Probably 5 other ones.
5. We have a couple of native Spanish speaking. We've got a Laotian speaking and 2 Karen speaking, along with a number of our current police staff that speak Spanish. We have 1 person in Public Works that speaks Spanish. We have 2 people at the liquor store that speak Spanish. So we have done what we can to address the many languages that are spoken here. And I'll just point out, no one was hired because they could speak those languages. They were hired because they earned those positions and were the most qualified people at the time. It just was an added benefit that they were able to speak one of our other languages. Okay, starting in 2027, Highway 59 is going to be rebuilt. Highway 59 runs from the interstate down Humeston to Oxford Street and then east on Oxford Street. And MnDOT graciously approached us and said, would you take this back? We really didn't have much choice, but it gave us the leverage that we could help have a word in designing it. This is a section of the North Humeston. If you look, you can see the McDonald's, the Arby's, the Quick Trip. This is going to happen in 2028. Along with that, the bridges over Interstate 90 are going to be replaced. So they're going to be knocked down, rebuilt. You can see we're going to have a new roundabout at Ryan's Road. The entrance and exit ramps on Interstate 90 are going to be roundabouts. Redoing the frontage road on the east side of Humeston. So that's in 2028. 2027, they're doing the East Oxford Street portion, which will replicate the adjacent portion. So it's going to be disruptive for a couple of years out on that very busy section. Once that work is done, it will be turned back to the city. We'll be responsible for full maintenance and upkeep on it. We do get an added stipend from the city. I had estimated that the added maintenance cost for us to pick up these lane miles was going to be approximately $100,000 a year. By the time we have to move all that snow, because the state takes care of moving the snow on the East Oxford and the North Humeston, we now have to take it over. And of course, that's a very crucial roadway system that gets done first, and we can't, there's no place to push the snow, so we have to windrow it and then come back and blow it into trucks. We had one day, this was 2 years ago, our last really bad snow event. We hauled out 604 truckloads of snow in one day. And these aren't our regular dump trucks. These are when we hire the side dumps come in, 605 truckloads in one day between downtown and out on Oxford Street. Short video that Studio 3 put together. Studio 3 is a collaboration between the City of Worthington and our school district. We receive franchise fees from our cable providers, which we now have turned that over directly to the high school to operate the Studio 3. Some of these you saw in the earlier video. But this is just an example of the fine work and technology that people have and how we're trying to put it to better use. That's it. And I took too long. We don't have time for questions.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. As we move forward, our State of the Region presentation, excited to introduce someone who played a pivotal role in shaping and the future of our county. He will be providing us with an update on the development of Nobles County and the upcoming initiatives. Please join me in helping welcome Nobles County Administrator Bruce Heitkamp.
That's next. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much, Jamie. Appreciate you all coming and finding out a little bit more of our county. Steve did a great job. I don't have near the visuals that he has, so apologies on that. But I'll find out a little bit more about what Nobles County is doing And it's kind of a little bit of a tale of who we are. I'm not going to dive that much into it. There's a few slides. But maybe not everybody knows the living works of operating a county. And so we'll go from there, and then we'll go into some of the projects that affects us all too. This is who we are, and Commissioner Gene Metz is here with us today too. The upper left-hand county, it may be a little bit difficult to see in the back, is a map of our districts. Each one of the commissioners has a district. And then in the upper right, again, apologies for it being a little small, but that is a map of Worthington. And 4 of the districts actually dip into Worthington. So Commissioner Metz is the one commissioner that doesn't have a facet in Worthington. All these districts are basically created based off population. And so we got Commissioner Justin Allers in the northeast, Commissioner Metz to the west, Commissioner Bob Paplow and kind of south central, or I should say Justin Allers is pretty much entirely east, up and down. Robert Damath and Chris Dibovec are both, their districts are primarily in Worthington. Chris's dips a little bit out of that. General county duties, I got this off the Association of Minnesota Counties website. But as many of you know, we administer property tax systems and vital records, plan and administer elections. There's more and more, school referendums and things. So in the last few years, there's been a lot more elections to administer to. Political environment as it is now, there's a lot of strife, and so a lot of the election process, and I was a former election judge and a clerk in one of our cities, has always been real tight, but we had to really put an emphasis on emphasizing that. And so our second floor, our main floor, Auditor Treasurer's Office, that is a lot of what they work on almost on an annual basis now, is continually working with elections. I don't know if there's any referendum. I don't believe there is elections coming up, but that was the first time in a couple of years that we didn't have something along that. Correction and probation services, we work with the joint powers of Rock County and Nobles County collectively working together. That's where I spent my morning. Had a very awesome presentation today from our Sentence to Serve supervisor. It takes folks on probation out of our jails, and then he told the story about how they got a project to improve a house, and it was really a meaningful project. Somebody was able to stay in their house because the house was in very poor condition, and on the opposite side, our folks in probation and Sentence to Serve got to see themselves what their work can do and how they, meant what that project meant to that owner. So he was very emotional in talking about it, our supervisor, Andrew Blank, but it really hit home on thinking about when we send those people out, what is meaningful to them too. So that was really good. Again, public works, we invest and manage roads. We work with our local cities. Work a lot with the city of Worthington as the last project that Steve introduced. I know that there was a collaborative effort with that. Workforce, economic development, appreciate everything Forward Worthington is doing for us, and we're doing some other things as well with our appropriations, and the appropriations is a funding outage that goes and offers additional services within the county. We are the local public health authority. COVID, that could be a whole other presentation. As you know, we went through it, we lived through it. We appreciate all of the collaborations with the health community here in Worthington. We were very much, pinpointed in the nation, and for sure the state, on what we were doing and the emphasis of what was taking place with our larger employers. We process tax forfeited properties. We just found out yesterday in our board meeting, or Tuesday rather, that we'll have a tax forfeiture sale again. So that's unfortunate and ongoing, but that those properties are usually plucked up by people that look to rehab them. And so that'll take place, I'm sure, latter part of this year. And then our social services wing. This is our largest department, and all those services that are listed within. General county duties continued, county planning and zoning. Now, a lot of that is the external county areas and such, but we do work here in Worthington at times too. Drainage administration, the eastern part of our state has a lot of public drainage systems, and so that is an ongoing effort in which, like right before my tenure, about 6 or 7 years ago, it actually created there was so much of those drainage systems that were 100 years old or older that now needed maintenance, and the county became the drainage authority. Working collaboratively, because the contiguous drainage systems work with Murray and Jackson County. So working with those counties well on that. And environmental services. And so we're probably fortunate, very fortunate that we don't have our own landfill. A lot of other counties have their landfill. A lot of other counties are now being pressed for MPCA improvements, and some of them are very small counties that don't have the funding to make those improvements that's requested. We do dabble into things with MPCA. It might be a good time to say that the county has created the Reading Sewer Service District, and we're trying to help the community of Reading because they're unincorporated. Summit Lake Township that houses them got a notice of violation in 2014. It's an ongoing process, and hopefully by 2028 we'll be funded to get them a public sanitation system. The library services, I'll delve into that in a little bit, but we handle the library services in Worthington here, and then the satellite library that is in Adrian as well. Efforts are ongoing to expand upon that, and Beth, our library director, would like to take the show on the road in some of the smaller cities, take library services to them on a several times a year basis. So they get the same kind of services that we do. Legal court services, county prosecution services. Again, that's the attorney's office, elected officers. That's the thing, it's kind of a nuance and new to me when I moved to the city is, as a county administrator, you're the head of all of the employment base in the county, but you got the elected officials too that have their own rights and responsibilities, that being right now the county sheriff, the county's attorney's office, auditor, treasurer, and the recorder's office. So everybody works well together, but like I said, they have their own rights and responsibilities that go with their office. And then we're a liaison and an office-based support for what I call quasi-governmental agencies. They do many of the things or similar things that the governmental agencies do, but they're more private in nature. ACE, the volunteering organization, Southwest Minnesota Opportunity Council, Career Force, University of Minnesota Extension Office, and in the basement, our DMV Licensing Testing Center. This is who we are. This is all the departments that I work with on a daily basis, and some more than others on often occasions, but again, there's a lot more things going on in other people too. I won't go through all them. I'll let you kind of read them, and you may know who they are anyway. Again, this is just kind of, again, not to bore you with numbers or whatever, but our expenses, our approved budget went up 9.7, but our levy went up 4.99. Counties are facets oftentimes of the state and sometimes federal programs. With that, the governor's budget came out. We're very attuned and working with Association of Minnesota Counties on lobbying and making sure we're protecting the services and the state funds that we receive. President Trump came in with a bang and pulled the rug on some of the programs too. We haven't been directly maybe impacted as much with that, but we're keeping a close eye on that too. Keep a close eye from the perspective that we have rights and responsibilities to our Nobles County residents and constituents on providing services, but being financially responsible as well. So on the bottom there is our property taxes, and we did have a 4.99% levy increase, and that, as we kind of looked at everything in plan, there was some I guess, reserve use in trying to balance the budget as well. I guess just comparing ourselves to others, again, you want to always operate as efficiently and effectively as possible. And in our neighboring agencies, we feel per capita, we're doing a good job at that, at being, kind of third. And that's difficult to do when, especially you have things like jails that put a lot of, a lot of financial stress on you as well. And I mentioned state funding in the county or the governor's budget. Again, the wrong room. I'm not lobbying, but this is what county program aid has done throughout the years, and we're still below 2001 funding for the funds that we get from the state. What does that mean? We got to be creative in fund use and then try to not stress the communities and the constituents in bridging the gap with too much of a levy request. And then this is kind of who we are as far as the tax base. Heavy agricultural related, just comparing 2024 to 2025. Agriculture, number one, residential, and then some of the others. Utility and railroad might be a good time to introduce that the Buffalo Ridge Regional Rail Authority is owned by Nobles County and Rock County, so where we work. And it's kind of a unique piece because I think it's several hundred miles where there's an ancillary rail or alignment between the Union Pacific and, help me out, Gene, what's? Burlington Northern, there we go. Yeah, so we're working with Ellison Eastern on that. Knife River is their parent company. And again, the counties own the line. They're the free-based operators. Their main business is hauling concrete products and rock and such. And it's good for them. It's good for us. They're always have a tuned ear to economic development. We're working with area partners with that too. And so we hope that as that evolves and having a really good operator as we do now, that there's additional economic development. In that realm, in the last 5 years, they developed south of town an agate in Org, where they're already moving rock and concrete products and stuff, basically to go from the rail onto the roadways. Yeah, again, this is just our budget and our levy. That's just kind of where we're spending it, our departments on the left, and a little bit of it, or a little bit of history perspective on the left and where we're going and what was adopted this year. Past year events, we're talking about economic development, but who wasn't affected by the flood that we had last summer? Hats off to Tawn Hall, our emergency manager. Hats off to you all and the city. Steve and his departments participated. I think, well, Worthington was very much affected, and especially when you have to relocate people and I think one of the housing facilities was shut down for a long period of time. That was very painful, but very, very professionally done. And again, I can't speak highly enough about the job that Tawn did for us for that. Again, I mentioned the Buffalo Ridge Regional Rail Authority. The counties had to come in because we couldn't shut that down. They each had to pitch in, Nobles County, Rock County, $450,000, to repair that. Public drainage damages, I mentioned the drainage authorities and such, and Loretta Halber, our drainage official, estimated that, well, they did. They went out and bid it, and it's $323,000 worth of damages there, too. So over $1.2 million of damages And then we found out in the last couple months that FEMA's not going to help us out for that. So that's an ongoing appeal process that we are hoping that we can get some assistance with. So more to be shared on that. 2025, what we're looking at for facility upgrades is, you know, we appreciate the patience and the assistance that everybody's offered. Our library and our art center is temporarily relocated. Our library, very appreciative that Southwest Minnesota Opportunity Council and Don and Judy Gronegay respectively offered their facilities. We're renting from them now to provide library services. The Art Center, I think, is relocated to another private home, or basically operating out of there now. Still doing their shows and such. But that War Memorial building, it's an active build right now. $1.1 million of bid improvements to basically renovate the 2 floors. And you know, just forward thinking in mind and what kind of services libraries will be offering into the future. Our Prairie Justice Center on the north side of town, we're developing a short-term mental health rehabilitation center, $1.1 million bid improvements there. That is another active build right now. The southeast portion of our Prairie Justice Center was a place that they called the former Kids Peace area. And so that is being renovated for that short-term mental health rehab center or stabilization center. We're partnering with New Life Treatment Centers. They've got rehab facilities in Woodstock now. They have regional offices in this area, in this same complex. And in the discussions, they said, yeah, we think we can manage this. A little bit of history on this. Commissioner Damath went up to present to the legislature and was sitting and waiting for his topic to come about. And in that, right before he was supposed to speak, they introduced that they needed these regional treatment centers, as we're all maybe familiar of the prior regional facilities in St. Peter and Wilmer and whatever they got shut down. Now they need more regional assistance. There is 4 ambulance services that serve Nobles County. 2 of them are outside of the county. Fulda and Edgerton come in. Sanford Worthington has the largest footprint, and Adrian has the second largest footprint in this. We deliver to our regional hospitals, the 3 do, but Sanford Worthington, oftentimes they have the emergency rooms. They have the ambulance service that often would be transporting from the emergency rooms to places that could help out people that are suffering with mental breakdowns. So that's taking an ambulance out of service maybe multiple times a month and a day at a time. And so it's really putting a stress on the ambulance services because the other volunteer ambulance services have a hard time picking up. So that's, that's something that we think this effort is going to assist with. And then again, if somebody has a mental health breakdown, it may realm into the criminal justice world, and people are often placed in jail when maybe that's not the most suitable treatment for that person at the time. And so that's a sad reality as well. So when this gets going, we have partnered with 15 counties for only 8 beds. And so that is a step. It's a step in the right direction. I think as we evolve and as the state continues to put an emphasis on mental health, there's going to be more of these built. I did attend a seminar last spring that was hosted by Senator Bill Weber, and stating that this is not the answer, though. You can never, ever build enough places for people to land. We have to put more of an emphasis on prevention. And so that's where I think that's going to go too. But we have this. We're going to have it in the county. We're going to be working with neighboring counties. But we think that's going to bring a great service that is going to be felt with our ambulance services, with our hospital services, and others as well. Other smaller scale building improvements that we have, I ain't going to bore you too much with that. We're replacing HVAC at the government center. And then we're starting discussions with our law enforcement committee, which is a joint powers agreement with the city of Worthington. Both of the law enforcement agencies are obviously located out there, and we're looking at improving driving and walking services or surfaces out there. Social services, economic development pieces, investments in daycare. So we've partnered with Community Economic Development Associates out of the Southeast, but locally we got Angie Coppola here today. Thank you for your efforts, Angie. Her and Joshua Schutz, both from CETA, are facilitating to many of our projects. They've come a long way. We've identified, actually the city and former Mayor Cooley was very impassioned on pointing out we have to help our families stay at work. We have to help our families find daycare so they can do what they need to do throughout the day. And so the county did pick that up, and we're getting partnerships with numerous agencies, school district included, on trying to figure out an answer to daycare. And we're not alone. Other counties are all looking into this. Stevens County, north of us, built a couple daycare centers themselves. But we partnered with First Children's Finance, finished up a Rural Child Care Innovation Program retreat. I remember our first day of meeting with them, and they said there likely will not be a daycare pod or center in the state that will be able to operate alone economically. They're all going to have to either get picked up by a school, a public entity, maybe a nursing home in which there's collaborative services or something. But she goes, that's the direction we're going. And I'm like, okay. It's been in the papers, in the press. We're partnering with Nobles Cooperative Electric and the city of Rushmore in identifying spots where we can put centers. We got grants from DEED. Southwest Initiative Foundation has been wonderful to work with, others as well. And so it's been great. Another thing that's just starting, maybe I'm introducing it a little bit, but it was also in the press, is much of the state is figuring out that we have to have family resource center development. And we're working in the early stages with Southwest Minnesota Opportunity Council, kind of a one-stop shop. And so many of you in the room may be asked, would you like to present or set up a kiosk on a day or half a day or something like that, where people can come in and kind of just come and sit and visit? We can market that. Really just kind of introduce our programs, find out what needs are, and then meet the needs of our families. And so we're excited. Darcy Gedke's the director of SMOC. She's a former employee at Nobles County. She knows the needs from her tenure there. And so we're eager to work with them on that. Opioid settlement funding. The counties received funding basically to offset all the negative efforts of abuse of opioids. And we're working with numerous partners on that. And the settlement funding that we're going to be receiving is, we're hoping to, there's 4 sectors. I apologize, I forgot my 4 sectors, but that funding can go out. Education is one of them, public safety is another. Just basically, we'll start the process of doling that out. It's going to be an 18-year process that we'll get these settlement funds and then be redistributing them out to a negative, or to hopefully just educate everyone on the abuses or the negative effects of opioids. And then on economic, or other economic development, the commissioners a few years ago, Commissioner Don Linson came in my office and said he just left a meeting, and Martin County representatives were there, and they were touting their internship program. And they developed a program in which they funded it and took 15 interns from their county and then found employers in which internships could be set up with the hopes that we could get that marriage going of a down-the-road employment relationship. And so we emulated that and developed that a few years ago. We are now starting our third round of internship programs, and I encourage you that if you're excited about helping Nobles County students come back to Nobles County and to find out what we do on a daily basis, please call Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council and Maria Peters and tell them that you're interested in taking on an intern. Private Industry Council acts as their employer, handles all the insurance. They take the risk out of it for the employer, and they work with the interns and the schools to make that happen. So it's probably the easiest way to get an intern. And then I know, as we started that, Commissioner Justin Allers during another meeting said, this is a great program, but we need to grab kids before they can even leave our high school and our schools. And so he just said, Bruce, what do you think we can do in regards to that? And then I thought of creating entrepreneurial opportunities. And my daughter was part of a neighboring CEO, as it's known, class, in which it takes juniors and seniors and introduces them to being an entrepreneur, what it takes to to start your own business, to be an entrepreneur. And so many thanks to you again. Many of you are investors in that program. We're in our inaugural. We're learning a lot of lessons and hope to improve as time goes on. But we do have 10 students from Worthington in the program. They are learning. They are all owners of their own LLC. They're pretty proud of saying that. And they're learning all the strifes of what it means and what it takes to own a business. They already operated 2 businesses, and now they're in the backstretch on developing their own business plan. We hope we can still organize some bankers meetings to where they have to go out and use that business plan to get some loans. Even though they're not getting an actual loan, and just kind of learn through that whole process. So right now we're busy in trying to market to our second-year students that would start next fall. So we're doing that as well. Highway projects, and this is, community services. That's a lot of funding going through that, and of course our highway projects. And county, state aid, highway, if you hear that ever a lot, that's our partnership with the state. Many other roadways are CSAHs, or county, state aid highways. And this year, emphasis is being given on County Road 4, as they're going to be doing a multi-year improvement upon that. That roadway is in pretty rough shape. This year they're going to be grading and widening. They've got their easements all set up. So that road coming out of Round Lake to the west and then heading, that direction is going to be graded and widened this year, and then a surfacing project is going to likely to come in 2026. Krelsheim Drive, CSAH 35 and 10. I don't know if you caught the Globe article on that. There's going to be throughway stops there. Help us spread the news on that. That's going to be a huge change, but we have had a crossing guard get hit there. That roadway is wedged between the golf course and the lake and other development. And so many of the people that have to come from the west side of town, they have to access or traverse that area. Our next move as a county, which is in our, or the county engineer's capabilities, is that three-way stop. So that'll take place here in another month or two, and we're, I guess, anxious to find out how that works. Crack sealing contracts went out, $452,000 to take place in 2025. Seal coat contracted $2.2 million to be performed. Our roadways, they seal the cracks to make sure that water doesn't infiltrate underneath the roadways and further deteriorate things down. Once they got them crack sealed, they'll seal coat them. And if you've been on some of the local roadways and it's nice and black and they got them striped and everything looks brand new, that's what's likely taking place. Staff crack sealing also takes place. So again, we've got a fixed amount of crew members that take, with Public Works, that take on a whole realm of responsibilities. And so whatever isn't contracted, they try to tackle themselves too. And again, it's not just crack sealing that they take care of. They have other county responsibilities in doing that. And then in talking to Aaron Holmbeck, our county engineer, we're looking at getting funding, grant funding, sometimes federal funding, to replace 5 township bridges. And so those bridge replacements take place after August 15th because of environmental reasons. Nesting and everything else that way. That's what I got. I should also mention the county is partnering with SRDC on some roadway trails. So County Road 35 is kind of the local facet that would link. It's really a multi-county process that are going to be linking communities together, biking and what have you, but they're looking at that. And then the county is also just starting efforts of planning their new comprehensive plan. A comprehensive plan that the county had was Comprehensive Plan 2025, and right now we're just starting to learn a lot about comprehensive planning, and thanks to Chris Hohensee for pointing that out, that was a need, that we need to do that. So that is what I have. Thank you very much. There.
2, 3, there we go. All right, so at this time, we will open up for a brief Q&A. So if for either for Bruce or for Steve, so if you have a question, raise hand, come on up. We'll give the microphone so that's able to be heard by everybody, as well as on Studio 3 in the house, of course, doing the video production here for us as well. So anybody, any questions at all for either Bruce or for Steve? Going once, going twice. All right, very good. Very good. Well, again, thank you very much on behalf of Bruce. Oh, wait. Nobles County Commissioner Gene Metz.
And this is not so much from the commissioner, but just a thank you and a congratulations to the city, your crew, Jamie. I live up by Lismore. I farmed there most of my life with my family. We live on a gravel road. We have used a number of the Worthington, started around the lake on the bikes before the trails were there. Now the trails, walk it, kayaking, the movie theater, the auditorium, the liquor store usually when I leave town. But it's amenities that we don't have. We drive here to get to them, and most of the time we spend money when we're here. So I don't know if there's a whole lot more out Worthington people here. Chris way in the back, but we do use them. People come to town to use them and we really see, when you started building all the restrooms and everything in the same motif, it just makes the city look good. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gene. Anybody? I have a question. All right. Tanner Rogers, Worthington HRA.
Oh, we got two?
Yeah.
Okay. Steve, this is kind of more for you. You talked about a development from outfit in Brainerd by the Caseys. I know that I read in the paper that the city is kind of concerned with the employers in town and their employees, specifically, you know, kind of talking with the political stuff going on. Is there any concern that, you know, specific action from the administration could lead to, you know, honestly, a catastrophe in Worthington with our demographic and the employers that we have? And do you have any idea if these or this developer has kind of taken that into account and thought about something like that?
Thank you. Well, no, that has not been discussed, but if you look at the communities that they have built in, many of them have a lot of similarities to Worthington. So we don't know any more than anyone else about what may happen here. We're not involved in any discussions or conversations with any other enforcement agencies. Whatever happens will happen. We have such a severe housing shortage, and we know there are not, well, I shouldn't say we know, we don't think there are a lot of people that may be at risk of any immigration enforcement that may happen. What I fail to point out, when we're looking at all these amenities and things that we're trying to address, our city council wants Worthington to remain vibrant and growing. To do that, we want to be the city of choice where people want to live and work. That's what we have attempted to do with all of these improvements that we've done. And I have to give a lot of credit to the staff I get to work with, that I have very talented people and are very dedicated, and they have put in the time and effort to accomplish these things. And as I pointed out, like with my efforts with the swimming pool, a lot of this came with a lot of headaches and sleepless nights and stress, but we carried through and we got it done. We will continue that, and we will address whatever issues that may come up in the future, and we'll, just like every other problem we have, we'll succeed in solving it.
Very good. Anybody else? Don't be afraid of the microphone. I've come to love these things. All right. All right, well. All right. One more time. All right, very good. But again, on behalf of Bruce Heitkamp, Steve Robinson, the City of Worthington, Nobles County, and the Nobles County Historical Society, and the great facility that we have here. If you're sitting here, you're like, you know what, I'd like to have a meeting here. Talk to Beth. She'd be more than happy to help you arrange a meeting for your organization here. So again, my name is Jamie Salinas from Forward Worthington. On behalf of everybody, thank you very much for attending our State of the Region. Thank you.